Do you have a love of the arts? Do you have a project that you want to bring to the community and need funding for it? Well, the town of Barnstable has the Mid-Cape Cultural Council, who is now accepting grants and grant proposals. So with me today is Chair Marilyn Heberlin and Treasurer Rachel Youngling. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Yep.
So this is the time of year that the Mid-Cape Cultural Center loves, is that you start to get proposals in from the community in order to fund art projects, but also science and humanities as well. So Marilyn, tell us a little bit about the Mid-Cape Cultural Center. What does it do?
Well, primarily that is what we do, is we give grants in those areas. But we have branched out and we are doing public art and other things. We work both with the town of Barnstable and the town of Yarmouth. Okay. So we accept grants from anyone on the Cape, but we do look at primarily grants that serve people in those communities, but then often there are grants that serve people all over the Cape, which would benefit people in those two townships.
Okay, and Rachel, where does the money come from that funds these grants?
Very good question. We are funded through the Massachusetts Cultural Council, which gets all of its funding from the legislature. So it goes into the state budget. This year they were awarded $14 million in funding, and of that we've been allocated $12,800 to grant to the community. We still have to go through a process to decide what we still have remaining from prior years, so that amount could actually rise.
Wow, that's great. That's some good money for organizations and individuals to bring to usually our underserved communities. So talk a little bit about some of the criteria that you look for in a grant.
Well, we would like it to serve the populations of those two townships, but we like to see that it's serving youth, it's serving people that sometimes aren't accessible to the arts or the humanities or the sciences. One of the projects that we funded last year was called Amazing Grace, and it was an arts program for children of incarcerated adults. And it was a small program, not really benefiting a large number, but benefiting, I think, a very underserved number. So that was the kind of thing that we like to look for. We often have given to larger groups like Rise and Shine, which again benefits youth in the community. We have given to schools, libraries, with science programs, Mass Audubon.
We did an outstanding grant last year for, it was through Mass Audubon, Long Pasture, and Matakees Middle School, and they were actually doing a head starting program of the spadefoot toad, which is an endangered species. So the students were getting to learn about the endangered species and foster its development and then release them back out into the vernal pools, which was really exciting to bring the science and bring different groups together that hadn't been able to work together before.
Oh, that's fantastic. So talk a little bit about this application process. You know, when I think of grants, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much writing. But if you're prepared to do this, it's all online?
It is all online. All the applications will be at the www.mass/culture.org, and you can go on there, and this goes for all local cultural councils. All the applications will be up there. And one of the unique availabilities of this is that you don't have to be a 501c3 nonprofit to apply for these grants, which with many foundations you do actually have to be. So we really like to fund local artists that are trying to make a living as a local artist, and they're not a nonprofit. You go onto that application site, and as long as you have your information together, substantiation in the form of agreements with whatever organizations you'll be working with, or a letter of understanding if you're going to be offering programming in a school, you can scan that information in and add it to the document, and then we just need a brief description of what you're planning to do and who it will be serving within the local community.
Right, and it's all fill in the blanks kind of thing. It's a
definitely.
fairly easy process to do, and you can save it if you're not
You can
finished.
save it if you're not finished and come back to it at a later time.
Yeah, and the more extra information you can give the more helpful it is. It's hard. Well, last year we had 45 applications, and it was quite a bit to weed through and to read and to make sure that you're not missing a really good program. So the clearer you are, the better, the more you kind of substantiate what you're doing, your budget, how you're using your money, those kind of things. But again, it's all just fill in the blanks on the application on the online.
Right, and I thought that was a great statement by you. It doesn't have to be a nonprofit. The ukulele kids come to mind because that's the woman who does that is an artist here on the Cape.
Exactly.
And she comes into an underserved school, gets the kids ukuleles, and they learn to play.
Yeah.
And we heard them
Yes,
play.
yes.
They were just
They were outstanding and so
Fabulous.
passionate.
Yeah.
And this is an instrument they might not have had access to otherwise because it's not part of the public school curriculum.
right. So when does this all end? Is there deadlines that people need to be aware of?
Yes, October 15th is the deadline for the online filing. And you can, of course, reach out to us at midcapecouncil2@gmail.com with any questions. We're happy to support anyone through the application process or answer questions if you really haven't flushed out the full program and you need some support. We're here to do that too because we really want to see artists and individuals be successful in this process.
Right. So October 15th is the deadline, and then the Mid-Cape Cultural Council, what's the next timeline that people start to think about?
Really,
Yeah.
it'll be the next grant cycle. We do the grant cycle once a year, so it's always an October 15th deadline. So that'll be when our next grant comes up. But we do have a project underway as well.
Yes,
That's going to be
and
coming up in
we
the spring.
review the grants. The council reviews the grants on our November meeting.
Okay. So they would know maybe by the end of the year,
Yes,
beginning
yes,
of the
yeah,
year,
yeah.
if they had gotten a grant.
Yeah.
That's a great Christmas present.
It is a great Christmas present, yes. We have a self-imposed deadline of December 31st to notify, but we're usually completed before that and can get notice out before that.
Okay. And congratulations on your public art funding. You made your
We did.
numbers and
We
had the
did.
community kick in. So tell us briefly what your project is and how it benefits the town of Barnstable.
Well, this is the Discovery Walk, and it's down by the harbor, and we foolishly or hopefully think that eventually there will be other sculptures. So we have begun, we have 2 sculptures. We are seeking a third. The deadline for that is September 30th. There's a lot of information out there. That it will connect to Main Street, and it's all interactive and fun so that you can sit on a rocking boat and or see birds fly. It's been a project, and it will continue, but we're really excited. It's going to be fun.
And one of the pieces we're quite excited about is we did receive an $11,000 matching grant from Mass
Right.
Development
Yes.
for creative placemaking. So we had to go through a vetting process, and they found that this community was deserving of this project, and it was really going to improve the vitality of that area.
That's fantastic. And when you went in front of town council, you had an opening statement. Can you share that with us? Because I thought it was wonderful.
Well, I said I have to confess that I am a Washoe Shore New Yorker as of 4 years ago, and I was very involved in the arts there. But the delight here and the difference is that in New York there is only one arts council, and it's in New York City, and it takes applications from all over the state just in that one place. And when I came here and I discovered what a wonderful idea that these are local people on the council. They are taking grants from local organizations. They are working with the local town council, and it's all something that is very accessible and very friendly instead of looking at a grant that is up on the Upper Peninsula or what, some, you know, so far away that you don't even know what these people are talking about. So I'm glad to live here.
That's fantastic. So October 15th is the deadline for requests for proposals for granting for this year in the arts, the humanities, and the sciences, or blend all three.
Yeah.
We love that.
Yeah.
and look to serve the 2 communities. Anyone from the Cape can obviously submitted application, but primarily the towns of Barnstable and Yarmouth.
Correct.
Have I forgotten
Yes.
anything?
I don't think so.
I think
No.
you've been very thorough.
You know this process, yes.
I know the process a little bit,
Yeah.
having been a member of the Mid-Cape Cultural Center. Well, good luck in this
Thank
grant
you.
process. I know it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of really great people deserving it.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so
Definitely.
much.
Thank you.
Thanks.